The war that broke out in Ukraine entered a new stage following the delivery of the powerful MLRS. Both HIMARS and MLRS M270s are already helping the armed forces of Ukraine effectively destroy the Russian occupying forces. But for a full transition into a true counteroffensive, Ukraine also needs systems capable of covering the sky over its cities. For this, we're looking at air defense systems that foreign partners have pledged to supply to Ukraine. And it's these that we'll be discussing in today's video. The key to a peaceful existence in any country that borders a terrorist state shouldn't be just a battle-ready army, but also powerful air defense systems. By their defiant actions in recent months, the Ukrainian army and its people have already proven that they're ready to destroy any enemy that dares set foot on their land. However, even with the massive efforts on the part of the Ukrainian artillerymen, the country still needs its own version of the Iron Dome to save the lives of its citizens. To this end, the United States has announced the delivery of 2 NASAMS anti-aircraft missile systems in its next package of military assistance, which amounts to $820 million. The Norwegian Advanced Surface-to-Air Missile Systems is a short to medium-range air defense missile system. It's designed to identify and destroy aircraft, UAVs, helicopters, and most importantly, cruise missiles. The development of the system started back in the 1990s when Kongsberg Defence and Aerospace joined forces with its specialists from the Raytheon team and the Royal Norwegian Air Force. To date, the latest generation is the NASAMS-3, developed in the 2000s and commissioned in 2019. At the same time, the first version of the system entered service with Norway back in 1998, and just 2 years later, its creators announced NASAMS-2, which was put into operation in 2006. There's a near certainty that this assistance package from Washington implies the transfer of the second or third generation of NASAMS to Ukraine. This air defense combines the American MPQ-64 Sentinel X-band 3D air defense radar and AMRAAM air-to-air missiles with a Norwegian C4I command, control, communication, computers, and intelligence battle management system called FDC for Fire Distribution Center. Together, the FDC and the MPQ-64 3D radar form the Acquisition Radar and Control System, or ARCS. Each NASAMS launcher carries up to 6 AIM-120 AMRAAMS and is connected to the FDC command post via radio and/or a field cable. At the same time, the mobility of this air defense system lies in the fact that it can be deployed and remotely controlled at a distance of up to 15.5 miles from the control center. AMRAAM is launched from the board of a towed launcher with 6 missile containers, and the projectiles themselves have a horizontal range of anywhere between 15.5 to 24.8 miles. The installation can fire 6 AMRAAMS in a matter of seconds at 6 different targets, which ensures the destruction of multiple enemy targets simultaneously. The NASAMS battery consists of 12 LCHR launchers and can launch 72 rockets in a mere 12 seconds. The second-generation complex received support for Link 16, new radars with spread spectrum technology and variable speed of rotation. It was also set up with the MSP-500 electro-optical sensor from Rheinmetall, which has a laser rangefinder, a visual display, and an upgraded thermal camera. This has been used before to passively launch rockets. In the latest generation of NASAMS-3, engineers updated the Fire Distribution Center with ergonomic control panels and 3 large displays. And in addition to the AIM-120 AMRAAM, instruction of sorts was given on launching AIM-9X Sidewinder Block 2 and AMRAAM-ER short-range missiles. This made it possible to significantly expand the affected area, increasing the maximum range by 50% and the maximum height by 70%, which will further facilitate neutralizing fast, maneuvering targets. In 2021, Raytheon announced the integration of a new medium-range AESA S-band radar into NASAMS-3. This is the GHOSTEYE MR, based on the GHOSTEYE or LTAMDS technology previously developed for the MIM-104 Patriot. Just a year later, in March 2022, Raytheon also held a demonstration of how the HELWS, High Energy Laser Weapon System, would be connected to NASAMS to destroy a swarm of unmanned targets. Given that NASAMS were used to defend the airspace above the White House, one of the air defenses received by Ukraine will most likely be located in the heart of Kiev, or at least in the vicinity of the capital. An excellent addition to the Norwegian air defense could also be the German IRIS-T system, which Kiev will receive from Germany this autumn. More specifically, we are talking about the air defense IRIS-T SLM, one of the most modern developments of the German defense concern DL Defense. This is an improved version of the IRIS-T complex with homing air-to-air missiles, which entered service with Germany in 2005. The IRIS-T SLM, a SAM with vertical projectile launch, can be installed on manned 8x8 vehicles or other vehicles. The complex can carry 8 missiles in its containers, and it only takes about 10 minutes to fully deploy it. At the moment, there are 2 primary versions of this air defense system: IRIS-T SLS short range, IRIS-T SLM medium range. Another embodiment of the extended range missile systems, the IRIS-T SLX is under development. This defense complex consists of missiles, a launcher, and an AESA all-weather 3D radar to monitor targets in a 360-degree radius and collect detailed data about them. Fire control is carried out with the help of TOC, equipped with advanced communications. As with NASAMS, the IRIS-T SLM embodies the principle of vehicle independence and high mobility. All the system's components are compatible both in size and fastening with standard containers that can easily be transported by air, road, rail, and ship. Due to the complex's flexible architecture, as well as its high tactical and strategic mobility, the air defense system now requires a crew of only 2 people. IRIS-T missiles are equipped with 25-pound or 11.4-kilogram high-explosive fragmentation warheads, an inertial navigation system, and GPS. The RF data link allows it to send target data received in flight from the fire control radar, which gives it the advantage of long-range radar guidance. At the same time, the missile does not have its own tracking radar, millimeter wave radar. Therefore, enemy aircraft have no chance of detecting and intercepting missiles via radar seeking. The IRIS-T SLM projectiles are powered by a single-stage, solid propellant rocket engine equipped with an integrated thrust vector control system that guarantees the projectile maximum lateral acceleration immediately after launch. This provides the missile with the ability to hit targets at the shortest possible distances and also achieve a maximum range of 24.8 miles and an intercept altitude of 65,616 feet. Ukraine's ambassador to Germany, Andrei Melnik, said that the purchase of the first IRIS-T air defense system in the amount of $178 million was financed by the German government, and he added that Ukraine intends to purchase 10 such systems. Although the dates for the delivery of weapons are still rather vague, we're sincerely glad that the cowardly Russian pilots will have to stay even further from the Ukrainian border. Another of the most sought-after air defense systems to counter the Russian invasion is the American MIM-140 Patriot anti-aircraft missile system. As part of a $40 billion aid package, the United States may in fact transfer such weapons. Additionally, Ukraine has repeatedly shown interest in these before, talking about the speedy replacement of the Soviet S-300. The Patriot MIM-104 is Raytheon's legendary air defense system that has protected the airspace over U.S. forces for over 40 years. The development of this complex began back in the 1960s and was supposed to replace the MIM-14 Nike HERCULES as the main air defense platform at medium and high altitudes, as well as the MIM-23 Hawk as a tactical defense platform at medium altitudes. In addition to this, the Patriot is a ballistic missile interception platform. Nowadays, this is considered a key role for the MIM-104. Serial production of the Patriot started in 1980, and by 1985 the first air defense missile was put into service. Unlike its predecessor, the Nike HERCULES, the Patriot was truck-mounted and more mobile. The fire battery could take position and prepare for firing in less than an hour. The battery consisted of a phased array radar, a battle control post, an electric power source, an antenna mast group, communications relay group, and up to 8 launchers, each of which controlled 4 missiles. Like all medium to long-range air defense systems, Patriot missiles are radar-guided and rely on radar to provide airspace surveillance, target detection, classification, tracking, and targeting. The anti-aircraft version of the Patriot, the PAC-2, uses an AN/MPQ-53 radar system. AN/MPQ-65 radars were installed in a more advanced modification of the complex, the PAC-3. At the same time, both devices use passive electronically scanned radars that utilize flat arrays similar to those installed on Aegis cruisers or destroyers. The first series of Patriot missiles were about 7 feet long, had a range of 43 miles and speeds in excess of Mach 3. This 2,000-pound monster had a 43-pound high-explosive fragmentation warhead, which effectively hit enemy aircraft and missiles by detonating in close proximity. But it was quickly replaced by an improved version of the PAC-1, which entered service in 1988. By 1990, when the Patriot's true test took place, an even more modern complex, the PAC-2, arrived just in time. It was deployed in the Middle East for use in the Gulf War, where it was considered to be the first bit of evidence that protection against ballistic missiles is actually possible. After evaluating the PAC-2's shortcomings, which were identified during operations on the battlefield, the PAC-3 was introduced, which included strike-to-kill technology. The latter destroys ballistic missile warheads with a direct blow, rather than an explosion at a distance. The PAC-3 missile is the same length as the PAC-3, but weighs 1/3 as much. Thanks to this, the launcher can accommodate as many as 16 PAC-3 missiles instead of just 4 PAC-2s. But the biggest difference between the PAC-2 and PAC-3 missiles is that the latter has a built-in radar transmitter and computer guidance, allowing it to hit targets more accurately and deal with chemical and biological warheads more effectively. Even if the United States doesn't want to transfer the Patriot, it may well carry out an air defense castling with NATO allies so that they, in turn, transfer their own air defense systems to Ukraine in exchange for American MIM-104s. For example, in April of 2022, Biden approved the delivery of Patriot systems to Slovakia so that it could send C-300 systems to Ukraine. After all, the American systems would still require a long time to learn and operate. At the same time, Ukrainian fighters are perfectly capable of controlling the S-300 and the Buk M1, as confirmed by the statistics in more than 50% of downed missiles during the entire period of Russian aggression. Today, most of the air defense systems with which Ukraine defends its skies are a modified version of the guns from the Soviet era. Among these are 100 S-300 batteries and an additional battery of Slovak guns, as well as more than 70 Buk M1s. The development of the S-300 started back in the late 1960s, and its main goal was to protect large strategic facilities such as large cities. Over time, many variations and modifications of this complex appeared for the specific needs of one or another particular country. Among the main features of the air defense system, it's worth noting its stable operation in all weather conditions and its ability to engage up to 12 targets simultaneously. The S-300 regiment often consists of 4 batteries, which operate up to 48 launchers with 192 missiles on board. Ukrainian air defense systems do their job effectively against a large part of enemy targets and shoot down aircraft and ballistic missiles at a distance of 3 to 93 miles. At the same time, the complex is not limited by any minimum distance and can shoot down any target, be it 30 feet or 30 miles away. The development of the Buk started a little later, in 1972. However, age doesn't really matter when you're fighting an enemy who has most of their own guns from the same time era. The air defense system can be used for protecting troops and either tactically or even strategically important facilities, especially as part of either larger-scale use of air attack weapons or a tactical air defense module. The complex can simultaneously destroy up to 6 aerodynamic targets or missiles, while a regiment of such air defense systems can provide cover for an area ranging from 800 to 1,200 square kilometers. The Buk M1 sweep time is several times less than that of the S-300. 5 minutes versus 30 minutes. Furthermore, the transition from its standby to its working position takes no more than 20 seconds. But in terms of range, it is noticeably inferior to the S-300, shooting down targets at a distance of 2 to 22 miles and demonstrating an operating altitude of 100 to 72,000 feet. Although today, the number of air defenses in Ukraine is far from ideal, looking at how the United States and other allies regularly address the issue of transferring heavy weapons and other means of defense to this European country, I'd like to believe that before long the sky over Ukrainian cities will be under reliable protection and their lives will return to normal again. What do you think? How soon will Ukraine be able to create its own Iron Dome to defend against the army of a dictator who's clearly gone off the rails? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video enjoyable, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell for more content like today's. I'll see you in the next video.